So guys, thank you for being with us on Spazio Rock. Frederick, for you it's second time, maybe you don't remember.
I do remember.
Yeah, for you, Michael, it's first time, so I'm really honored to be with you. So, how are you doing?
Good, we just got to Milan last night, 10 in the evening, so we didn't have much time to hang out, but we had some pasta and some wine, so it was nice.
So let's deal with the new record, Paid Communion. So I think that this album is destined once again to divide your audience.
They're already divided, I think. Maybe we're gonna divide them even further. Maybe it's 2 groups after Heritage. After this, maybe we're gonna have 4.
It comes immediately right up at the listening, the more pronounced prog direction with this album, Respect Heritage. This time it's 100% prog rock music.
I think some songs, for instance, the third song has a bit of the old Opeth to it, structure-wise at least. And some elements on this album is heavier than Heritage, I think. But it's
Cusp of Eternity, I think, is a heavy metal type song.
Or hard rock at least.
It's not so progressive, really. But in a way, it depends on how you define progressive. For us, it is progressive to do a simple song, if you know what I mean. But then there are songs like The River, which is a completely new sound, partly for us, I think. We have the string songs, the 2 songs with the string sections in, Voice of Treason and Faith in Others, which is also fairly new for us, I think. So I'm not sure what to, like. I don't want to. It would be a bit misleading to call it a prog rock record, because it's almost like it's that suggests that it belongs to a style. While I think it's more progressive in the true sense of the word. So it's I think it would be hard for me to accept a genre for this.
Okay.
But if it makes it easier for people to understand to call it a prog rock record, I'm fine with that too, I guess.
Okay. I liked really much the atmosphere of the album. It's almost vintage atmosphere. Is this the meaning of the choosing of the Rockville Studios in Wales with the 17th, 80 early atmosphere? Is that what you wanted for this album?
Yeah. I mean, we wanted a good sounding record. We wanted to work in a nice environment. Rockfield has also a history of, great bands coming there. Fantastic records have been recorded there. The environment there was perfect for us. It was a very good place for us to record. Very calm, quiet, and it was residential studios. So we lived there. And they also fed us, they cooked for us, so that was great. So we could focus 100% on doing the record,
When we did the Heritage, we recorded in Stockholm, where we all live, or did at the time at least. So that was different this time around, to be able to be in the studio, not an engineer that, it's 8 o'clock, I have to go home to my family. So we worked until 12 o'clock some nights, maybe 14 hours, so that made the recording very focused and efficient.
And sound-wise, I think we have been ever since, I guess since forever. I never wanted us to sound too modern, if you know what I mean. I wanted us to sound like humans playing, which is something that we took way further on the Heritage record. As little editing as possible, and as little studio trickery as possible, just a good sound. And then it's up to us, if you know what I mean. We have done a few records where you just record and then there's a lot of editing, and in the end it just sounds like robots to me, which I don't it doesn't make the record better, if you know what I mean. But in the metal community, that's almost against the norm these days, because lots of metal fans work a lot trying to make their record sound exact, if you know what I mean, which I think it's a bit boring and can get tiring to listen to metal productions these days, because it's so we wanted it to be a bit flawed almost.
I think I heard the album a couple of times streaming, and I think all this hard work you said now, we can listen to it really much because the album is really well refined and it's incredible crafted. It's like a handcraft sound. So
thank you.
I think you are satisfied of it.
It's easy in the metal world, especially. I mean, I don't know anything else than the metal world because that's where we are, if you know what I mean. But we're trying to push the boundaries a little bit, but mostly musically, but also sound-wise, and to be on our own. We don't like to belong in a group. We want to be on our own. But we are okay with being defined within the metal scene because that's our origins. Our roots come from really extreme metal, and then gradually I guess we have moved away from that. But we still feel that we belong to the metal scene, so to speak. But we don't feel an affinity with bands in the metal scene, and definitely not the sound from the metal scene of today.
You said that you belong to metal scene, but the most part, I think, of your audience maybe will has not understand yet your change of of direction.
Yeah, but there's also like the metal scene is something I've been thinking about and talking about a lot. Is very hard for me to define what it is really. Yes. You know, I know that if you listen to barren earth and brutal death metal, you might have a problem with what we're doing today. But that doesn't, you know, that it's not the definition of metal. I think the definition of metal is very blurry, and I'm not sure if you can define what metal is. But that is, like I said, that's our roots. So I feel that we still belong. I still feel many of our fans have probably made this type of journey with us. They've grown up. Maybe they listen to the same stuff that we did. Maybe it's easier for them to understand what we're doing now.
We still play the heavy old stuff live, and we enjoy it. So.
In fact, I listened to you since Orchid album, since the beginning, really.
Old man.
Old man, young but old man. But I think that in Watershed era, I think it was necessary.
No, I think it was necessary.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to struggle a lot to make to push us forward. Once I started writing for Heritage for real, so to speak, because I did try and kind of latch on to the Watershed style for some time, and then I just like, fuck it, just do something new. And then it was easy, if you know what I mean. And by doing Heritage, even if a lot of metal fans, so to speak, don't like that album, I think it gave us a future. I love that album. I think it's unique. We couldn't repeat it if we wanted to, but we can build on from it, you know, and it gives us a future. And I think we would stagnate if we try to latch on to the sound that made us popular, so to speak. And I still think if you compare Heritage and Pale Communion, you can only compare it to Opeth, I think. Yeah. You can't compare it really to anything else. People saying like we're trying to sound like King Crimson, but they don't really know what they're talking about because it doesn't sound anything like King Crimson. It's just an inspiration for us.
Always important, we have here Fredrik, always important his contribution of this new change, because respect Peter, he has a different touch, more technique in guitar, I think. How is it important, his contribution in the new development of the band?
Well, Fredrik came in when...
Before Watershed.
He did his first record was the Watershed album, but we did tour together a lot. And Fredrik is a dream guitar player for me, because he can play anything. While Peter couldn't really play anything, you know. I wanted Peter to take the position as a lead guitar player, but he never took it. He was always going somewhere else. He was interested in his education and other stuff outside of music, which made me sad in those days that he didn't take that position that was open for him. So I had to become a lead guitar. I love playing lead guitar, but I'm not as good as Fredrik. You know, I wanted someone who could play all the crazy stuff if that was needed.
In fact, the first time I see you with Fredrik, I was surprised that he He's the lead guitar, so
Yeah.
it's really, really amazing.
Yeah, I didn't want to be a lead guitar player because I wanted to focus more on my vocals and songwriting. So Fredrik is a great musician, great guitar player, and he's also a great tool for me to work with, if you know what I mean. Like all the other guys, they do their thing much better than I can ever do it. But it allows me as a songwriter to go crazy, because I know that they can do it, if you know what I mean.
Maybe I didn't affect the actual direction of the style in Opeth. I mean, I enjoy playing the old stuff as much as the new stuff. But since I joined the band, it's for me the perfect band to be in, because it has such a wide variety of sounds. And you can do a metal soul, and you can have something more that's a bit more laid back, more different type of emotional playing, and also all the acoustic work. It's a broad spectra to work on, which makes it interesting.
Now, another couple of questions. Michael, everybody knows your passion for 17 prog Italian music. What's of that music is in this album? For example, Goblin is something, a tribute for Goblin?
Yeah, that's the obvious reference point, I guess. But I wouldn't say, like, I can't say like this part, listen, it sounds like Italian prog rock, you know. It's just something that I take in as an overall inspiration, mishmash, blended together with all the other influences that I have. But the Italian prog scene is, sometimes I think they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, which is lovely for me. The sound of some of these records, there was a darkness in the Italian prog scene that you couldn't find in the UK prog scene as much. There was a heaviness to it that I think it was resembled to me out of the European scenes in those days. The German scene and the Italian scene were the closest together. But Italians are also more extravagant and they're more experimental. I think they had their unique sound. And the Italians always loved melodies too, so it was more bombastic or something, and bigger emotions from Italy. In Germany, it was just crazy, either really heavy or the whole krautrock sound, like Can and stuff like that, which is druggy sounding. I think the Italians were looking at some of the English bands and then taking it one step further without really knowing that they did. And then there was, like I said, a darkness, almost like a occult sense to some of these bands. Like Jacula, if you heard Jacula Antonius Rex, that kind of stuff. We had lots of church organs and stuff like that, and whispers, and you know, just a occult sense that appealed to me from, you know, because of my death metal past, I guess. But then there's just great musicians like PFM, fantastic musicians, you know, great musicianship, and oddness to it. If you heard a band called Circus 2000, which has a female singer, they did 2 albums, which is it's almost like they have a sense of the West Coast, American West Coast sound, but they didn't really get there. Instead they created something new. So it's very interesting to me, the Italian.
Okay. So guys, I think the time is over. So I thank you very, very much for your time. And if you want to leave a message to your fans, that's the camera.
Hello. Thanks for your support over the years, and I hope to see you when we come through and play. And check out the record, of course. Pale Communion.